everybody, welcome back to the shop. My name is Doug. It's been a while since I've posted anything, but as you can see behind me, I've been busy working on the fuselage to the Hatz Classic. I've got it off the fixture and completely finish welded up through the tail post and starting to flush out some of the insides of the biplane, which is seats and the control group. The seats being the first thing on the list here. And I'm just going to do an unboxing for you today about with a tubing bender that I bought off of Amazon. And we'll take a look at that and some of the problems that I had originally trying to make the bends for the seats and why I went to this tubing bender. So we'll go ahead and take a quick look at what's inside the box, set it up, and see if it truly does bend the tube as good as they say it does. So welcome back, and let's take a look at what we got. Alright, over at the workbench here, what I've used in the past to bend 3/4 inch 035 4130 tube was Tony Bengalis's bending fixture. Got a 3/4 inch diameter groove down the center, and it works for some mild bends, just cold forming it. I used it on the horizontal stabilizer and it worked beautifully. That wasn't going to work in this situation, so I went ahead and built a smaller version that had just a tighter radius to it, and I thought that if I could just heat the tube up, I might be able to work it around. You can see obviously it's a sacrificial type of deal, but it didn't quite work as well as I had anticipated. So what I ended up doing was buying a tubing bender off of Amazon, and that's the whole reason for the video. So let's go to the box and take a look at what we got inside of it. Alright, we're here at the box, and came packaged in this styrofoam. It actually is pretty well packaged, to tell you the truth. I was kind of surprised that they went through this amount of trouble to put the foam in it and put it inside such a clumsily put together box. I mean, if you've ever ordered anything from overseas, they seem to use boxes that I can't imagine survive the shipping, hence the shrink wrap that's was around the side of it. But at any rate, you've got a nice handle here. This is the type that seemed to screw down to the table. And let me just take this whole thing out. It's got a couple of different radii bends. You can kind of see some of the replaceable wheels. Those go inside here. We'll take the first one out. It goes from 3/8 all the way up to 1-inch tubing, and you can see some of the radii for the larger diameters right here. It's a fixed radius, unfortunately, so you could probably, given how you manipulate it, you could probably get some much larger radii by just bending it in small arc segments. But you just bolt this to the table and put the arm on top of it and give it a good squeeze, and should be bending tube in no time. So I'm going to go ahead and put this to the workbench here, get it all set up, and then well, we'll try to make our first bend. Stay tuned. I lost the audio to this portion of the video, so I'm just going to dub over it. So pardon if it sounds weird, but the shaft has been bolted to the table. And the big mistake is that the table's on casters. Don't do that. Wouldn't recommend it. The 180-degree bending dies are actually pretty well machined. I was kind of impressed with the fit that you get. You can kind of see that here. I put a piece of the test tubing inside of there. Both that bending die and the applicable wheel that's going to go in the handle here were actually really well done. The wheel that you see there is on an Acme threaded piece of all thread, and we'll see where that comes into play here in a second. But the handle just slips right over the top. It's about 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inch shaft that whole thing pivots on, and you're able to snug up on the die of the smaller wheel. When you put the tube in, it's captured by a pretty stout piece of steel that just slips right through the top, and it just captures it pretty nicely. What I did was just bring the tube all the way into the large 180 degree die, and then slide the you can see me using the slip nut there to bring the smaller die right up against the tube. And what I found was that the handle for this size tubing was pretty inadequate. You can see this starting to be cinched up here. They do obviously give you a larger handle like a brake bar, and you're going to need all of that. As you can see, as the table starts to move here, it was ridiculous to put this thing on casters. I don't know what I was thinking. But once you get it started, it moves a little bit easier. You can see me having a hard time getting the first start of the bend in there. So what we're going to do is reposition ourselves and then try it again. All right, we're back at the table, and on the other side of the handle, putting my considerable mass into it this time here by just putting the foot up against the edge of this table so it doesn't move. Once you start to get it to bend, it cold forms relatively easy. So you can see I've got one hand under the table to get some mechanical advantage on it, but it just kind of comes right around, a little bit of spring back, but you should be able to get angles fairly easily. All right, thoughts? Not too bad. Took an extreme amount of effort to go ahead and bend this tube, but it is 3/4 inch, 035 wall, 4130, so it takes a little bit of effort, which is fine. The handle and extension seem to be fairly adequate. I probably would not suggest mounting it to a rolling table like I did, but you got to play with what you got. So in the end, the bend is not too bad. It is ovaled a bit. I don't know if I'd use this for structural stuff, but for the seats it's fine. There is no ripple on the inside. The exterior of the bend seems to be nice, and you know, just get used to the spring back when you go ahead and make your 90-degree bend or whatever you got, and I think you'll be fine. So for the price point at $156 on Amazon, it's really not too bad. It would be nice to get some adjustable radii, but you know, you get that kind of flexibility in larger machines. So for what it is, this radius is just about what I need for the seats, so it's going to work out for me. Your mileage may vary, but it actually looks like a pretty well put together machine. So if you need to bend some tubing, like I said, it goes from 3/8 all the way up to 1 inch. You try to bend 1 inch, and I got to believe that you're looking at probably putting some sort of a come along on the end of this handle, because boy, you really gotta put some muscle into it. Anyway, but thanks for joining me. I appreciate you stopping by the shop, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Fly safe.